So the inside's a little dry. I'm going to squeeze this water on my finger and then run my finger down the inside, and that will give me some idea. Check it, it's running smoothly on my finger, so I know there's water on there. And then the same thing on the outside. What I want to do right now is just kind of straighten this. So I'm going to use the flat part of the rib, and what I like to do is just hold my hand like this on the inside, and I just move these up together and take kind of the ridges out of this. And probably I'm going to do another knuckle pass on this one. Let's see what happens there. And once again, I'm going to do the fix-it position and pull it in just a little bit. So you got a little dry spot here, and what I don't want coming up here, what I don't want is to hit a dry spot. But again, now if this gets off, I can use the fix-it position and bring it back to center. Never think, okay, well, I'm going to try to do something. I'm going to try to do one more thing. It's wobbling, but I'm going to try to do one more thing, because that's just going to get worse and worse and worse. Fix it, use the fix-it position. Same thing, put a little water on here. See what happens. Now I'm going to do something different here. I'm actually going to do this with my fingers down here. I'm going to push out and move up using my fingers. But it's basically the same thing. Hand on the inside pushes it out, fingers on the inside push it out. Fingers on the outside are helping to bring it back in. And because the wall is thinner, the fingers don't put as much stress on the clay. So, and I don't know how much it came up, but so then once again I'm going to use the rib, and I'm going to smooth this out. And I'll show you 3 different things that you can do with the clay. And by the time you practice these, you'll have experience moving the clay out, stretching it out, and taking it in, which is sort of headed towards a bottle shape. The first and easiest thing is just to make sure that's wet. Hold the finger on the outside and then finger on the inside, and just pull that out and make a lip. And in order to see what you're doing, you have to get down here, and you can square that away if you want. You can make it so it's round. One of the things that I like to do with the shapes that I make is, and of course I'm going to finish this off a little bit, but one of the things that I like to do is I like to cut a little line in here so that it kind of distinguishes the difference between the lip and the body of the pot. Now, if this is centered, you can just take this back up, and there's lots of ways of doing that. Do the fix-it position. You can do this, is called collaring. I can take this in by just, the clay's in good shape. As long as I don't try to move it too fast or something, it's okay. Now, the next shape that I think helps you get some idea of how the clay is going to work is to flare this top out. And you can do all these on one pot if you want. But hold your finger down here, and then I'm pulling this out so it makes a little flare out there. And again, I got to get down here to see what I've done. This is the only place where I ever squeeze clay together, is right here at the top. If you squeeze clay down here, there's so much weight. The clay has to have some place to go, and usually it goes where it wants to go. If I have this area at the top, it makes it easier. Clay will go up for me. Now, I use my thumbnail sometimes to cut a line on there, or popsicle stick, whatever's comfortable. So that's a way to kind of experiment, taking the clay out a little bit. And as long as you do it slowly and it's centered, it should not be a problem at all. Now, something that's fun usually you do this because the top is wobbling all over the place, but we put a little water in here and take the cutoff needle. And what I'm going to do is I have this across my thumb, and I just slowly cut in until that reaches my finger on the inside and pull that up. So it's kind of fun to do that most of the time. But I'm going to take this down and I'm going to show you how, basically the beginning of how to throw a bottle shape. So now there's quite a bit of water in here, and I'm going to take this water out of here. One thing, even though there will be more water in there, probably not going to keep this pot, but try to keep that water out of there. Now, let's wet the sides, and I'm going to pull this in a little bit, and you can watch. Now what's going to happen is the wall is going to get thicker, and this is just kind of the fix-it position. So in the process of taking this in, it also allows me to make another pass on the clay and make this a little taller. So and I think I'll do this with, rather than the knuckle, I think I'll do this with the fingers. And if I throw this off in the process, I mean, if this gets a wobble or a big wobble in it, fix it. Use that fix-it position. I use it every time I throw, and I've thrown a lot of clay and it's saved me many, many, many times. So now, let's see what we got here. I'll stand up to do this. So I'm going to push out and get the bulge. So this might bring it up another, couple inches, whatever. So get to the top, back away. Then I'll take this rib, and there's nothing wrong with having the finger marks of what you've done, your experience with the clay on there. This will take it off, but if you like the looks of that, leave it on there. Now, to take this in to begin to make a bottle shape, you use a modified fix-it position. And what you're going to do is you're going to use your ring finger and your little finger, and again, so this is touching, and you move in slowly, and make sure you move all the way through the top. If you leave this flared out like this a couple of times, you probably will not be able to get that back in, especially when you get towards the end of making a bottle. Hold it always, every time, and I probably should have emphasized this more. Every time you take your hand away, and see, it looks pretty good, doesn't it? But every time you take your hand away, hold it, let it go around 3 times with the pressure that you had on it, let it go around 3 times with no pressure, and take your hand away. If you do that, you'll have far fewer problems. Now, when I take it in like this, it also makes the wall thicker. I'm going to take it in one more time like that, and then I'm going to go back and make a finger pass on it. So if you have a thick wall, you use the thicker part, larger part of your hand. If it's kind of a medium size, you can use the knuckle. But up here, I'm going to do a finger pass on it. And it's the same thing. That little bulge you see there, that's the finger on the inside touching, and I have them braced, thinning the wall, and this one on the outside comes up and straightens it up. Now if the top starts becoming uneven, usually that happens because one wall is thicker than the other. Another way to take the top in is to do like a collar in thing. This finger is doing most of the work. These guys are kind of helping, but I'm pushing in on that, and you can see the clay is well centered, so I can really push this around quite a bit. I'm going to come clear down in here, and I'm doing another finger pass on it, so you see getting a little more height there, but the important thing is it's thinning the wall. Now I can't get down there, so So this is where this comes in handy, because I do want to keep the most of that water out of there. And this is another way you can take clay, and I prefer the other methods, but this is a way to do it. And again, hold it, let it go around, back away, and so it's centered. I prefer this method here to taking it up, or the fix-it position, depending. As long as the clay is in good shape. Of course, if you're throwing a bottle form, it's much better if the clay is firm. So now I'm going to start pushing this in a little bit. And one of the things that students do, or whatever, however you want to refer to yourself, is they would get to this point and be afraid that they were going to screw it up, so they just stop here. And this is not really finished. The important stuff that's going to happen here is going to happen in the last probably 2 minutes of the throwing process. So now I'm going to start looking at this. I'm going to look at this line here. I'm going to take this in a little bit, and I can do that with the tool. I can take this in and flatten it off just a little bit, but I have to be careful. I need to keep it pretty much at a 45-degree angle, even though later I will flatten that more, but if I flatten it now and I work up here, it may be too much stress and this might drop. So I don't want that to happen. So I'll come up here, finish this up, start thinking about what I want the lip to look like. So do I want it to be a hard edge? Do I want it to be rounded? And if it's centered, you can play around with this, and let's say we want it to be a rounded edge. You can look at that and see what you think about that. I'm probably going to cut a line under here, so I'm going to do that now. You can leave it rounded. I can flatten it off so it has some little sharper edges. But if I don't like that, I can take it back to where it's rounded. And the nice thing about when your clay is centered, it gives you lots of options to experiment with it. So take it, we'll leave this one rounded. Now I need to finish this part here. So here, I'm not doing much here, just feel comfortable in this position. I'm pushing in, and you notice that I'm always working this area here. Don't get over here, and you certainly don't want to be over here with the clay coming into it. You're going to try to work in this area here. So I'm pushing in and flattening that out, and then I'm going to come up into this area. I'm not going to do anything with the lip, so I hold this here. Look at this. Look at the shape, and I think that the important part of this process, and as you have more experience, of course, I think your shapes will become more sophisticated, more what you want, but it's going to be frozen in this shape for a long time. Do the very best job you can right now at this moment. So take this in. Take this down a little flatter. Now, this is the part where I have to start. It still has a pretty good angle to it. I can take this in a little bit more. Now, this part here, I'm going to look at that, and probably this will be, once I have this angle established here, probably go back in and take a look at that. So now, get a little water on here so the tool floats on there nicely, and then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to cut this line. And this, this is what I like to do with mine too. I like a little different. Sometimes even I will, if this is a little angular here, I might even make this so it's a little sharp edge. And most of the time I would use a popsicle stick that's been sharpened to cut a line in here. Makes a little bit nicer line. Finish it off with the sponge. So I look at this line here, and I'm looking at what I've created out here. The base might be a little thick. I could trim some of this off here now, or I can wait till it gets leather hard and trim it off. I think I'm going to take this down just a little bit more here, and I can do that with this. So that's a little flatter. Now, angle I'm going to use here. Normally I would do a popsicle stick to do this. I like just a nice, I cut it off so it's flat. And this is really the important part of what we do. The other part is fun, and hopefully is successful, but this is what is going to last for 20,000 years, which is amazing. So now I'm looking at this angle. Let's see if I want to flare it out a little bit more. Cut this. Another thing that I need to take into consideration here is that all these lines that I cut, when I glaze it, the glaze is going to modify that line a little bit, so it won't be quite as, it won't stand out quite as much. So that's something I need to take into account. The other thing that I like to do with my work is sometimes I like to put a decoration on the side, so I'm going to make a little frame here, assuming that I'm going to put a decoration here. So I'm going to make a little frame, and the best time to do it is right now because it's as centered as it's ever going to be. And then I'll take the sponge and clean the junk off of there. And then this will be where my decoration will be. Now, if you chose not to trim it when it's leather hard, one of the things you can do is you can take a tool. You need to be careful doing this, and what I'm doing is see how the clay is pushed out to the side here? What I don't want to do is push it in, because it'll change the shape, and it might just shove it right into the side. So it's worthy of living. The end.
Beautiful.